That is huge. And guess what? It's time to start framing up our house. Welcome back to the set of Can We Build a House in Costa Rica in 90 days or less. Today is day 43 and we've begun to frame up our house, and as you can see, we're framing it all up in these giant I-beams. I know what you're thinking. Alan, that don't look like how we frame up our house in the United States and Canada. And you're right, because there you normally would start off with this huge concrete pad, and then you'd start putting up your 2x4 or 2x6 walls to frame up your house, put on your roof, get it in the dry, and you get after it. Well, we're gonna do something similar, but we're building our frame out of I-beams. Now the question you gotta ask yourself is why? Well, Costa Rica, it has a lot of seismic activity, has lots of earthquakes. No humongous earthquakes, every once in a while, every place does, but a lot of little tremors. And so you have to ask yourself, well, what is the best substance to build your walls with when you do have seismic activity, when you do have mountains, when you have the possibility of having landslides? So of course we chose the best material, and that would be framing out our house in these massive I-beams. And so we're going to frame everything in metal, and the reason for that is because metal is very forgiving. While it's very stout, very strong, if you do have any kind of tremors, earthquakes, that metal will give a little bit. Most houses in Costa Rica, they're building their houses out of pure concrete walls, and those concrete walls are so rigid that they don't give, and so you'll end up with cracks, and you could end up just with a lot of damage. So we're building this out of I-beams, and the rest of it will be metal, and it's all welded together, and it's really looking good. To bring you up to speed, we started out with our first I-beam on our first column support right over here, and we ended up with this giant excavator coming over here, picking up this beam, putting it all in place, making sure that it was, plumb, level, both this way and this way. And then we put up this side over here, welded our first piece in between. Then we connected onto this concrete structure, which is our extra storage space for the garage. And so now it's beginning to come together. In just a few days, you're gonna see this begin to take shape. So while it's day 43 and you're beginning to wonder, geez, it sure is taking a long time. Well, if you don't get that foundation right, you really can mess things up. And so we've done a lot of work just getting the foundation, our column supports, our plates, this structure, everything in place. Now, we're gonna start taking off. So within the next few days, you're gonna be able to see this thing really take shape. Having chose to build with these humongous I-beams, this house will be standing forever.
Our I-beams arrived a few days ago, and that in itself was a huge challenge to unload. These I-beams can easily weigh anywhere from 50 to 150 pounds per linear foot, more or less, depending on the size of your I-beams. You'll definitely need an excavator or a crane for all of the heavy lifting. Then, the team has to make sure to pick out the right I-beam according to the blueprints. Obviously, this is extremely important. It's a lot like putting together a puzzle. You must put the right puzzle piece or I-beam in the right place. In the United States, and probably in most places of the world, you would normally have a crane on site to lift these I-beams into place. However, in Costa Rica, it's extremely difficult to find an available crane. That's why you need to schedule your free 20-minute phone consultation so you can have professionals to help you through the challenging process of building your house in Costa Rica. Since we could not find an available crane anywhere in Costa Rica, we had to improvise and hire this excavator. The driver will have to be extremely skilled and know how to think outside the box in order to accomplish this job. You might have noticed our crew is a safe distance away from the excavator when it picks up the I-beam. We do have a chain tied to the I-beam, but it's very possible for that beam to slip away if that chain is not tied on properly. This part of building our house in Costa Rica can be very dangerous. After the driver has the I-beam near the correct place, we can then help out with the exact placement, but being very careful while we do. Getting up the first two I-beams took a lot of time, but now our crew has a better understanding of their responsibilities and can now work together better, faster, and safer. By the end of the day, our build project was really starting to take shape. This is a slow process and requires a lot of welding. It's extremely important to have a qualified welder. In the United States, a weld inspector would X-ray the welds to make sure the welds are proper and will hold this structure together. Don't make the mistake of hiring any local person who says, "Hey, I can weld." Over the next couple of weeks, we continued working as long as it wasn't raining, and our building project was coming together nicely. It looks like we're almost finished with the I-beam structure that is tied into our massive foundation underground. Soon, we'll be able to walk on our first floor. Keep watching because the fun is just getting started.